This is a KGW News Special Edition.
All right, let's get to local headlines now. In our top story tonight, he is the 22-year-old being remembered as a brother, a teammate, and a friend. Hundreds have gathered this evening in Eugene's Autzen Stadium, where instead of watching a game featuring tight end Spencer Webb, they are paying tribute. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm David Molko. The public memorial getting underway within the last couple of hours. Webb was killed after an accidental fall last week near Triangle Lake. Let's bring in Orlando Sanchez now. And Orlando, Spencer Webb is a young man who beat the odds in so many ways, which makes his death that much more tragic here.
David, it's been a week of heartbreak and mourning for the loved ones of Spencer Webb. The University of Oregon, the community of Eugene, and so many others rocked by his death. Tonight was a celebration of his life. A video montage played, a beautiful tribute that showcased Webb's infectious personality. A lot of people cared about Spencer Webb. He impacted many, an influencer on social media, reflected by the hundreds who were watching online and in attendance at Autzen Stadium. His Ducks jersey framed, Oregon was his dream school. Head coach Dan Lanning, his teammates and family shared some of their favorite memories, shed tears, and dedicated this upcoming season to Spencer Webb. Teammate Cam McCormick said Webb was like a brother to him.
Although I have tremendous pain in my heart and I miss my brother every day, I will treasure all of our moments together and will remember him always and forever. Spencer, if you're listening, please continue to shine a light down on all of us. We could all use it. I love you, Spence.
Webb died July 13th from a head injury he suffered in an accidental fall at Triangle Lake. He was 22 years old, and Webb beat the odds. His parents had substance abuse issues. He moved from one household to another in California. His brother Cody became his guardian. Cody and wife Alicia raised Spencer through his high school years. Webb got his grades up and earned a scholarship at Oregon. The Spencer Webb Kids Scholarship Fund for 8th graders in need has been created at his high school alma mater in Sacramento. Back to you.
22 years old, and he will be missed. Thank you, Orlando. Well, new tonight as we move into wildfire season, leaders in Washington County are taking action. A high fire danger burn ban takes effect on Monday. That means backyard and agricultural burning are now banned, or will be banned, I should say. Small backyard campfires and barbecues are still allowed, but they should be done in clear areas away from things that can burn easily. And that upcoming heat, a big factor in the burn ban. Let's give you a live look over downtown Portland. It's 82 degrees on this Thursday evening, just past 8. Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino joins us now. Matt, while we're getting a break from highs in the 90s, this is not going to last long.
You know, David, we've got a couple of great days on the way. So far, we've had 7 90-degree days. Over about the next 10 days, we're likely going to double that number here. Here's what's happening. Not hot tomorrow, not hot Saturday. So we have a nice westerly flow, but then we begin to see high pressure build. This is Monday offshore. It's going to join forces with high pressure coming in from the south and from the east, and it just sets up a very big hot air mass up and down the west coast that has staying power. And that may be the most critical feature to this heat wave, is how long it's going to be around, because I think all of next week we will be in the 90s, and a couple of those days likely in the hundreds. We may begin to cool off towards next weekend. I think we'll get some relief as the marine air begins to push back on in, but it's going to be a long spell of very hot weather. So beginning Monday, we'll be in the 90s. I think we'll see a couple of days where we reach 100 degrees. Not expected to get as hot as the big heat dome last summer where we hit 108, then 112, 116. We're not talking numbers like that. But anytime you're above 95 and around 100, it's just hot. And then also importantly, the overnight low temperatures are going to become uncomfortable, especially as the week progresses and we have day after day of hot weather. The overnight lows may actually stay in the low 70s, which is a little bit, as I say, uncomfortable to say the least for many Portlanders. So again, we got a couple of great days on the way tomorrow, Saturday, even Sunday's not too bad, but get ready. It's about to get very hot next week, David.
All right, thanks, Matt. And that triple-digit heat he just mentioned, a big concern for those without permanent shelter. So we're going to be keeping an eye on plans for cooling centers. Speaking of our homeless crisis, this evening we are headed to one local encampment. It happens to be on city property, though it's charging rent, and neighboring businesses say also causing significant problems. Blair Best has the story from North Portland.
At first first glance, this section off North Columbia Boulevard is nothing special. But hidden behind these trees and gates is a homeless encampment with more than 50 cars, RVs, and tents.
It's just one camp here. I don't know whose it is, but
Virgil Atkins works nearby.
more camps back here.
He and the loud hum of generators guides us through the makeshift village.
It's gotten bigger. It was only a few campers at first. Now it's whole neighborhoods.
To the outside eye, it looks just like any other encampment. But for those living here, it's much more.
This is Gracie's Oasis, and it's supposed to be a easygoing community.
Gracie's Oasis. I'm working on a sign.
This is Angel Grace Brown. She runs the camp.
I've been watching this place for about 3 or 4 years.
Now about a dozen people live here, each paying Brown about $200 a month in rent, some of which goes towards camp maintenance.
It's safe. It's behind fences.
And this is city property?
It says it is, but I'm taking over.
She's put up no trespassing signs and chains to try and keep people out.
We don't allow people to be in here stealing and doing anything that's illegal.
We're just trying to make a safe haven for us away from the city because they're not treating us well at all.
What about all the shelters and other organized villages that the city provides?
For how long do they provide it though? And then they're right back out in the street again.
Oh, they connect people with social services and there's outlets for people to get help.
There isn't. You're looking at a person that couldn't get any help.
Epidemic. Basically an epidemic.
Atkins has watched the camp grow. At night, he parks his truck next door at Kurt's RV Storage. It's been stolen twice, along with $2,000 worth of tools.
That's what I use for my business. That's how I make my living.
We're at a loss right now.
Jeffrey White's family runs the nearby storage yard.
Our customers on the RV side are having their RVs, the gas is being taken out, the catalytic converters are being taken. Some RVs have been broke into.
They've reported this to police and every city official.
Nobody wants to even respond.
The Portland police said handle it yourself, don't call us.
Nobody's been up there stealing anything. Anything that was stolen was from a long time ago.
The city tells KGW they assessed this site last week and determined it was a high-risk site. It has since been added to their removal list, an impending fear for those who call this place home.
We take care of each other and we're not trying to cause trouble.
I don't think I'm doing anything wrong.
The city assesses hundreds of high-risk campsites like this one each week. And right now, they know of 776 high-risk campsites across the city. And they only have the resources to remove 50 a week. In North Portland, Blair Best, KGW News.
Well, today the mayor of Portland issued another emergency declaration, this time to address the explosion of gun violence across the city. An outside report shows homicides more than doubled from 2019 through 2021, with non-fatal shootings more than tripling in that same period. Evan Watson is here with me now. Evan, walk us through the mayor's strategy here. I mean, how is this going to work and why the state of emergency right now?
Well, you mentioned that outside report. So Portland leaders are using that to guide their strategy and why they're doing this emergency declaration as well. With this plan, they're really focusing on community-based outreach for that small group of people who then make up the data that shows they were involved in the majority of shootings.
Emergency declarations can get results that the status quo just can't.
Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler has announced emergency action for the city's gun violence crisis.
Portland's rate of gun violence has increased faster than many of our peer cities, 207% since 2019.
Wheeler says his Safer Summer PDX plan focuses on connecting with people who are most likely to be affected or participate in gun violence, based on data from the past 3 years of shootings. City leaders say this is a proactive step that they will use in targeted areas of Portland, rather than focusing on arrests or prosecutions.
What you will see over and over is the importance of having the outreach performed by someone who understands that life, generally someone who has gotten themselves out of it.
A study of Portland shootings found about 200 people are responsible for the majority of the shootings in the city, and most shootings are group-related, which includes gang involvement. Gun killings and shootings more than doubled in Portland between 2019 and 2021. Wheeler's plan lists a goal of reducing homicides and shootings by more than 10%. We asked if that's a high enough goal for the city to counteract recent increases in the violence.
We obviously hope to do much, much better than that. But it's also a statement of acknowledgement that there are many factors that come into play. It's a complex issue, and it's going to take time and energy, particularly if you're talking about one-on-one interventions with that group of individuals who are likely to be engaged in or impacted by gun violence. So I see that as a floor, as a baseline.
The plan says Portland will use community-based outreach workers, not law enforcement, to handle interventions.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, what we will be judged by in those neighborhoods is, do they see a decrease in gun violence? If they do, they'll know the program's working. If they don't, they'll know it isn't. And they'll hold us accountable for it. I guarantee you that.
So far, 44 people have died in gun-related homicides in Portland in 2022. That is on pace to meet or pass the record number of homicides, 90, which was set just last year. Wheeler said this complex plan is a direct response to this concerning data. David?
And I know we will be tracking the impact of this plan here. Evan, thank you. Despite the challenges facing Portland, it is widely acknowledged, of course, there are many. Local hospitality and business leaders say tourists, well, they are finally returning to the Rose City. The big challenge, hospitality, including local hotels, well, they need a lot more staff to keep up with that influx. Travel Portland said today at a news conference that hotel room demand is up 28% over the same time last year. Occupancy up 17%, but hundreds upon hundreds of jobs are wide open.
This is the time to come and join our industry. We desperately need people to join this industry because consumers are back. They want to stay in hotels. They're enjoying traveling again. And if we can just be able to service them the way we did pre-pandemic, it's going to help your local economy.
Research suggests for every $100 spent in a hotel, approximately $220 more are spent in the local economy. Well, Washington voters have less than 2 weeks to get their ballots in for the state's top two primary, and tonight there is controversy over a potential voter intimidation effort that appears to have Republican ties. Let's tell you about it. This stems from a series of signs left at several ballot drop boxes across King County. They read things like ballot boxes under surveillance and please report suspicious activity here, complete with a QR code as you see it there. The code leads there to the King County Republican Party webpage with a prompt to submit an election incident report. Elections officials say the signs appear to be a targeted effort to scare people away from using those drop boxes.
This is an outrage. This is an absolute affront to everything we hold dear, which is the vote, the right to vote.
You shouldn't have to feel that way when you drop your ballot. These drop boxes are 100% secure.
And the chairman of the King County GOP sent a cease and desist letter demanding that his party's members remove those signs. Well, still to come, you might call it a preemptive solution to Portland's struggle with violence. Meet the local group that says it's all about empowering kids. And later, the home of the Seahawks gets a big makeover. The changes coming to Seattle just in time for the season's kickoff. Stay with us. Welcome back. As Portland officials announce a new plan to reduce gun violence, organizers of a free summer camp in the city's northeast are hoping to make a difference of their own. Tim Gordon meets the youth and their mentors focused on fun and empowerment.
Well, this really is about empowering kids to believe in themselves and others and to set their sights high and away from trouble. Plus, it's summer camp, so it's fun. At Highland Christian Center, the sermon is on Sunday, but lessons are being taught all week long at summer camp. For the youngest kids, it may start as simply as playing by the rules. A game of red light, green light is good for that. However, the ultimate goal here is to counter the violence in our streets, says Senior Pastor Dr. Sean Nayland.
And so the purpose behind this camp is to build self-esteem, to build entrepreneurship ideas, to counter and change the narrative. And as I often say, it begins with mentorship.
Most of the mentors here are older teens and young adults.
These kids, these kids, I love them. They put a smile on my face.
Like 15-year-old Antoine Spencer, he says this is more than a summer job, connecting with kids who, like him, may not live in the safest neighborhood.
I just want to make them feel included, and if they have problems at home, I want them to come here and feel free to be happy.
Or 19-year-old Davian Cunningham, who says he's lost 2 friends to the violence.
I'm here to just get back to the community, be with the kids, have fun, of course, and just get them onto the right path to where they don't have to be on the streets or have to go to the wrong way of life.
70 kids up to age 15 are enrolled in the Highland Youth Leadership Academy, and there is classroom time at camp designed to help them explore who they are and want to be, like Jameer.
One day I want to be in the NBA, so I have this picture right here.
Dreams, big and small, are supported here.
I love this summer camp. I was in summer camps growing up all the time, so.
Enila Hollis is back from college in Atlanta, mentoring kids who in summertime can have too much time on their hands.
When they're here, they have something constructive to do. They have food, drinks every day. They're here making new friends. We teach them stuff.
Setting a positive course beyond the trouble in our streets.
One of the lines in our motto says, I believe in myself and others believe in me. So it is very much important for me to let the kids know that I do believe in them. I believe that they can be great. I believe that they can achieve their goals.
We mentioned this is free for the kids and families. The church got a grant that pays for camp and other programs for kids through the end of the year, all with the priority of countering and changing the narrative one child at a time. Tim Gordon, KGW News.
And talk about a great week to spend as much time as possible outside, right? I mean, this is just beautiful.
This is the week, because next week you're going to be looking for the AC.
Yeah, we'll
next
be
week.
sweating and running for the
for sure.
shade, right?
Yeah, it's going to be hot next week, but we got a couple of good days to enjoy and then prepare ourselves both mentally and operationally for what's coming our way. Let's take out of the coast right now. Always some good air conditioning happening there, at least usually. Certainly was today as the onshore flow was in full force. And you can see it just above the waves. You can see kind of the sea haze here moving in from off the ocean. Then, of course, the low clouds also moving in an onshore direction as well. So that's what we talk about, or what we mean when we talk about onshore winds coming from offshore to onshore and bringing that cool ocean air with it. Hey, we hit 86 today, which is obviously still a very warm day, but below the 90s of the last couple of days and about where we thought it would be. Eugene cooled down to 84, 60s on the coast. And Eastern Oregon cooled off a little bit. In fact, in the Dalles, 98. Yes, it's still hot, but yesterday they were 102. So a big difference there. Medford also avoiding triple digits. Hermiston did not, and Ontario heated up even more with a 105 over on the Idaho border. Interesting satellite imagery. First of all, the low clouds here. You can see they pushed into the coastal valleys last night and through the morning hours today, and they burned on back. Now they're making another surge inland. But look at this cloud line here. That looks pretty robust, doesn't it? Almost looks like thunderstorms developing east of the Cascades, but that is not what it is. These are mountain wave clouds, also called in this case altostratus standing lenticular. Want to see what they look like in real life? We can do that. Let's look at our camera up at Timberline Lodge, looking south at Mount Jefferson right there. And this is that front edge of the cloud. This cloud extends on up to the north and east in that direction. And this cloud is constantly forming on this edge and then dissipating on the downwind edge. And again, it's a function of the air flowing over the mountain range and getting lifted, and some strong winds aloft aiding in that. And this is just a really interesting cloud formation. But it doesn't really mean that we're not getting any rain from it. There's no thunderstorm activity with it, but it sure is fun to look at. No warnings or advisories in Oregon right now. The fire weather warning is now limited to Idaho and Montana. So again, there's what we call a little jet streak, and it's because the winds are stronger there, and that little jet stream, kind of a mini jet stream there in the embedded flow. So that's what's causing that cloud formation. The overall flow is a little bit like this right now, but that's going to change, and high pressure builds over us as we go to next week. But not before a great day tomorrow. Morning clouds, nice and cool. They burn off. We have sun in the afternoon, maybe some patchy clouds on Saturday morning, and then we will be cloud free for several days to come. Now tomorrow, clouds will really break up till about noontime, 1 o'clock, as you can see here, and temperatures in the 70s in the afternoon. So a very pleasant day, even cooler than today. Not hot tomorrow, not hot on Saturday, although we're back in the low 80s, upper 80s on Sunday, and then hot next week. Area of high pressure and high air here. Another one building in from the southwest up into the northwest, and it just spells a prolonged period of hot weather for us as we don't get the onshore flow, and really not much changeover in our air mass at all, perhaps until Friday or Saturday of next week. And that's why this is going to be a long heat wave. It won't be as hot as last summer, but it is going to be hot. 79 right now, freezing level at 13,500 feet. On the Oregon coast, we're going to have a cloudy morning, even some drizzle, but otherwise highs will be in the 60s and a fairly enjoyable day. For the valleys, we're looking at high temperatures around 78, 79, maybe 81, morning clouds, and then sunshine after that. For Portland, same thing, morning clouds, cooler tomorrow, afternoon sun, and a high of 78. In the 7-day forecast, 82, very pleasant Saturday. Still in the 80s, barely on Sunday, and then we're in the 90s firmly on Monday, up to about 100 on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then 98 Thursday, and hopefully that trend of cooler temperatures will continue as we go to next weekend. But either way, you get to 95 and above. It's just hot.
Yeah, you know, I don't have a special sound effect for this one, but it's like a staircase, up, up, and away, right?
Yeah, right? You know, we're no longer doing that cool down. Well, we are doing cooling off a little bit over the weekend, but then it is just up, up, up.
Wow, we'll be watching. Thank you,
All right.
man. All right, we're not even halfway through the summer. Look at that forecast. But the NFL season, of course, is almost here. The Seattle Seahawks kick off training camp next week, and this week, their home field is actually turning 20, so we're getting a sneak peek at a few changes at Lumen Field. If you head up to a game this fall, you can expect 2 new open-air food and drink areas with premium views. How about that? Add in some new video boards and new checkout-free tech that's going to help cut down on all the lines at concession stands. And those stands, of course, too, going to feature local restaurants.
That's one of the things that we've always focused on, is making sure that we bring the Pacific Northwest feel and also specifically the Pioneer Square and Chinatown International District, along with Soto as well, to bring in those flavors as well to the stadium.
The renovations are going to be done by the home opener. That's September 12th, when the Seahawks are going to host their old friend Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos for Monday Night Football. Well, let's talk Oregon 22 now, because the World Athletics Championships are in full swing at historic Hayward Field. According to some accounts, too, business is booming in Eugene. Games organizers say ticket sales have exceeded their expectations. The night sessions are almost all sold out, with only a few tickets remaining. The morning sessions have also done better than expected, and some local businesses say they are seeing an uptick in customers, especially when the night sessions wrap up.
The gate lets out, we'll be full until 1:32 a.m. This has been the hub for track coaches, track fans, and of course many of the athletes that compete.
Wonderful seeing people from all over the world, and it's just an enriching experience on so many levels.
Yeah, thousands of athletes, many more fans are visiting Eugene from nearly 40 countries and all 50 states. Local hotels, Airbnbs say they are at capacity, and Oregon 22 wraps up on Sunday. Well, still to come, using old logs to spur new life. In just 2 minutes, we're going to give you a front row seat to helping our local fish.
So this is an exciting day for Metro. This is an opportunity for us to protect our native species of fish and help restore habitat for our wildlife, and to be able to improve our natural watershed. I'm Hannah Erickson, communications specialist with Metro.
So today we're placing large wood in Newell and Abernathy Creeks with a helicopter. We're mainly working to improve habitat conditions for salmon, steelhead, cutthroat trout, and Pacific lamprey that live in these streams. Yeah, so today's work is all about restoring fish and wildlife habitat and protecting water quality in Newell and Abernathy Creeks here in Oregon City. I'm Brian Vaughn. I work in the Parks and Nature Department at Metro. We're aiming to deliver about 200 logs. There's 36 log jams being constructed. Yeah, so our salmon, steelhead, cutthroat trout, and Pacific lamprey need a little help. We're addressing those limiting factors and creating conditions where those fish can thrive. Essentially, they need clear, cool water to survive.
A log jam is a safe place for fish when they're small to be able to rest and access shade and be able to thrive and get strong before they go on to the next part of their journey. So this is our way of creating those so that our fish have a good, healthy place to live.
Very cool. Well, the good stuff is up next. Brittany's going to take us to a local ballpark where you got to be 61 to play, and also take you to Cape Lookout, I should say, and let's get out there. Speaking of out there, how about this view from our Wells Fargo Skycam? Have a great evening. We hope to see you right back here tonight at 11.